All right, everyone, we are talking about the difference between feminine discipline and masculine discipline, and especially through the lens of your confidence. One of the, not myths, but like one of the things that personal development can often tell us is that, this is how you improve your confidence. You do the affirmations, you do the journaling, you do the self-love, and all of that is important, right? We need to heal the wounds. You need to do the somatic healing, of course, like duh, it's me. You need to do all of that so that you can have your confidence back because it was once there and it was taken away from you. But then in terms of keeping the confidence, it's actually about self-commitment. It's about self-respect. It's about having integrity and boundaries within yourself so that you feel like you have your own back. And this conversation around discipline is an important one to have, as a lot of women, you potentially have had a past where your relationship with men or just the masculine has turned you against having self-discipline. And you see self-discipline as almost like self-punishment, when really being disciplined is actually an act of self-respect and it's an act of devotion. So I thought it could be helpful today to talk about the kind of difference between the feminine expression and my invitation for the women listening to understand how discipline relates and supports our feminine energy, and then the masculine. But let's remember, we all have masculine energy in us. The masculine is not bad. Sometimes it is supportive to consciously be more disciplined in your masculine, maybe depending on the context of the situation. But of course, what's going to be sustainable for us as women is to be disciplined from our feminine. Okay, so you need to embrace discipline even if you want to be in your feminine. And often discipline gets a bit of a bad rap when it comes to feminine embodiment because people don't understand that it is actually an act of self-devotion. It's of self-love, of self-respect, of rebuilding self-trust. And how many of us have lost trust within ourselves and our intuition and whatnot for various reasons. So firstly, if you've had a past relationship with work where it's ended up in overworking or workaholism, if you have had a past of burnout or abuse from men or the masculine or being hyper disciplined, you may have a fear of structure and discipline and quote unquote pressure and all of this. Your pendulum has swung from one extreme to the other. It's been super in your masculine, super hyper disciplined, like putting a lot of pressure on yourself, a lot of structure. And then you've had a collapse of that for whatever reason. And now you've gone whoop all the way to the other side of super feminine, no structure, no discipline, like go with the flow, see where the wind takes me. But you're noticing that's actually making you feel stressed and chaotic, because I know I say this a million times, without the masculine, there cannot be feminine. So if you don't have structure and systems and processes in your personal life and in your professional life, your feminine is going to feel chaotic. And if the feminine doesn't feel like there is a container and there is direction, if the feminine doesn't feel the masculine, even internally, even inside of you, guess what? She will default to hypermasculine because she's looking for safety. She's going to default into control. That's why many of us are little control freaks, because we actually don't feel safe to be in our feminine. We feel like, well, if nobody else is in control, I have to be in control. If your husband isn't in control of things and he's not being in that masculine protector provider role, then you're going to default into that because you need to create safety for yourself, the children, whoever, okay? What you actually want is healthy discipline. I want us to get out of this kind of whiplash that a lot of us put ourselves in unknowingly, where we're swinging ourselves from one extreme to the other, where it's this very all or nothing approach, okay? Boundaries are a sign of self-love. Boundaries are self-respect. Lost the word. Boundaries are you having self-commitment. Now, everybody focuses on boundaries towards other people, boundaries with other people, drawing a boundary with so-and-so. But what about the boundaries that you have within yourself? Do you follow through on your own word? If you said, I would like to go for a walk this afternoon, do you go for the walk this afternoon? Do you reach for your phone when you've committed to rest? That is this when we do that, what we're doing is we are breaking our trust within ourselves. We are not having integrity with ourselves because we are bypassing what we said we would do. So discernment, which is technically masculine, is also really important in supporting our growth, in becoming the dream version of ourselves, in being able to discern between like an active self-discipline, which is self-love and self-devotion, versus punishment, right? You can eat healthy from a place of self-love, or you can eat healthy from a place of punishment, okay? So when we are acting from this energy of self-commitment, that is actually a form of self-care. It is not self-punishment. It is following through on your words so that you feel like I actually have myself. I have my own back. All right. So if you've experienced a lot of rigidity in the past, whether it's from the way that you were brought up, whether it's from a past relationship, whether it's from a past job, whether it's just from you getting trapped into that hyper masculine kind of hustle culture, if you have experienced a lot of rigidity in the past, it's very easy to then, as you swing to the other side of the pendulum, to completely rebel against discipline altogether. But then what I said before is you fall into the feminine chaos and nothing gets done. And then you get overwhelmed and then you're stressed. Now you're in your head. And guess what? Now you're actually in your masculine. So having masculine structure in your personal life and professional life keeps you in your feminine. Okay. So for a lot of you, your starting point is not just putting a million structures in place and now going back to the other extreme. It's actually healing your relationship with the masculine. And that's why when we are currently in the launch of, I think by the time you guys listen to this, we're in the launch of her year for next year. If we're not, get on the wait list because, oh my God, it's just like, I cannot even tell you what I have planned for next year. It's so fucking good. But for some of you, even from last year, you would ask, am I a fit for her year? This is what I'm struggling with. And actually I would say, no, you need to do the immersion first, or you need to do Queen Alchemy first. If you can't come in person, do the trauma healing first, because you won't be able to implement these embodiment practices to become her if you haven't healed your relationship with the masculine. Because a lot of what we talk about in her is it's a bit more action orientated. You're self-leading. There is an element of bringing in more masculine in your life. And if you've read the testimonials, it's like these women are so in their feminine now because of the masculine that we've brought into their life. So just even some examples of like what that could look like to bring more healthy masculine into yourself, into your life, like leaning in on your inner masculine, your inner man, okay, is cultivating healthy self-discipline, is being the kind of woman that actually follows through. I've now said that like a million times, I feel like in this episode, following through the self-integrity and building that internal safety with yourself so that you actually feel safe in your body, in your nervous system, in your mind, in your external environment to have more in your life. And the answer isn't always having a man give this to you, which maybe some of you are like, wait, what? Right? You can be your own man. The universe can be your man. God could be your man. And obviously we all want, I'm assuming everyone listening, like you want to find your dream man, but don't wait for him to come in your life to build this healthy masculine, because you actually need to build it within yourself. You don't want to be this like princess save me energy when you do meet your man. Like he doesn't want that. You are a high value, you are a independent, powerful, successful woman. And I'm not saying that so that you can then be like, you know, I've talked about before of like, I'm such an amazing woman, I deserve more in a relationship, blah, 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 when actually he's amazing and you're just not seeing it. Of course, there are situations where he's not amazing and you do deserve more. So nuance exists. Use your own discernment, right? We're not talking about that kind of I'm so high value, blah, 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 where it's like no one is good enough for you. What I'm really talking about is like, if you are that energy, you are that woman, then you are meeting a man that is a match for that. He is not looking for a princess that he needs to save all the time. He is looking for a woman that he can provide and protect and support and do all the masculine things, makes decisions for and lead the family and lead her and all of that. But that woman that you will want to be, she's also leading herself. At the end of the day, like I was thinking about this the other day. I was actually listening to a podcast. I can't remember what podcast it was, but I had this light bulb moment, and I've kind of written about this now in some of the emails for her year and all of that, of like, we as women are actually natural born leaders. We lead the family. We are like, you know, as a mother, we're leading the family. We are leading heart-centered businesses. We are still making decisions for ourselves. We are keeping everybody in the family healthy. Like we have a lot of power when we step into leadership, but power in this like beautiful, empathetic, loving way. And so we need to learn, though, how to lead from our feminine, because a lot of us, we are leading in our lives, but we're leading from our masculine. All right. So you can create this own container for yourself. You can become the version of you that is leading yourself with grace and loveness and empathy and self-commitment and self-respect and self-love. I am going to be buying you time back in 2026. If you haven't already enrolled for my insanely incredible container, Her Year, you need to be. Her Year is a 12-month mastermind style experience for the woman that is wanting to create the life of her dreams. If you want to step into feminine leadership so that you truly can feel like I can actually do it all, you need to get in this room. This room is a space for high caliber women. It's the women that are deciding in 2026 to make her dreams a reality. It's not for the woman who says, "Oh, I want to change," but then you just give excuses instead of taking action. It's not for victims. It's not for people that just want to dwell and stay in negative circumstances. It's for those of you that are wanting to be in a room with other women taking radical responsibility for their lives so that they can up-level things in every single capacity in their life. We are going to be talking about health, relationships, mindset, money, manifestation, literally you name it, we are talking about it. If you haven't even looked at this program sales page yet, you absolutely need to, because one, it's fucking divine. And two, I cannot tell you the results that women have gotten in this 2025 round of this program. Now, if you haven't done any trauma healing yet and you are struggling with low self-worth, low self-confidence, for example, you don't know how to speak your truth, you need to start with the immersion. Okay, 1000%. Trauma healing is the foundation. You will not be able to embody her if you are stuck in your shit still. Okay. But if you have done that work and you are looking for a program that is tangible, that is action orientated, that is going to help you with integration and embodiment so that you can be doing the E and then step into the R of her by her framework, remember, is heal, embody, radiate. Okay. So you've healed your stuff. Now you want to embody it so that you can be radiating. This is the room that you need to be in. So let's go into this difference between the feminine discipline and the masculine discipline. And then I want to come back to talking about confidence. Just from like a quick snippet, right? From bird's eye view, we're not adding nuance. Masculine discipline, it is pushing, it is grinding, it is head dominant. It is more like pressure. It is more focused towards achievements. Feminine discipline is devotion, is the energy of devotion. Feminine discipline is the energy of like loving self-commitment. Masculine discipline is still self-commitment, but it's a different energy. It's like self-commitment for achievement, because that is what the masculine wants, right? Whereas the feminine wants love. We want connection. We want safety in our bodies. And so it's more like the energy is devotion to us. The act of discipline, through at least my perspective of feminine discipline, is the discipline that you have so that your feminine feels safe. Feminine discipline, technically the act of the discipline that you put into place is masculine. Like if you were to put in place like structures, systems, routine, that is technically masculine, but it supports your feminine. So through my lens and my take of this, when I'm sharing it with clients, I'm like, this is feminine discipline, right? The feminine discipline is creating this structure that holds you, that allows you to be in your feminine, right? So it's almost like, and I've said this before on Instagram Reel, men do it more like Tony Robbins style, push, 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 like achieve, go, like almost like hustle, right? Like hustle, like kind of going towards potential burnout, all right? And they can, because of their testosterone, their hormonal profile supports this like rah, 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 and like go, go, go. Whereas for women, we need discipline that is going to build and support and nourish our feminine energy, not kill it. So that's why I've shared this before. Like I've been to a Tony Robbins event. He's fucking amazing. I know many of you have too. He really like opened my mind to a lot of this, started me off on my whole trajectory of personal development and getting into all of this in a sense. And I know many of you have shared that you've gone to his seminars too and his events too, but what he does, what he shares, the changes that he makes in people's lives, it really works for men. That approach doesn't work so much long-term for women. It works in the short term. It gives you this high, it gives you this rush where you feel alive and you feel amazing, but it's short-lived. Versus, let's just say, for example, my approach, it's long lasting for women because of the way that I am like fostering it for women's biology, our hormones, our sense of discipline. Okay. Where, like, for example, a man can be super disciplined with his morning routine every day, the exact same thing, boom, 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 right? And that makes him feel like he's achieving every day doing the exact same thing, whether he wants to or not, whether it brings him joy or not. What actually brings him the joy is the fact that he's done it, is the achievement of that. We all know that if we do the same morning routine, the exact same thing every morning, you hit a point where you stop doing it. And women ask me this question all the time, right? I was doing this for X amount of months and then I just like stopped doing it. I got so bored. It wasn't doing it for me anymore, because we can't do the same thing every day. We are cyclical, right? We are not the same version of ourselves every day, hormonally speaking, biologically speaking. So our sense of discipline needs to come from this energy of more devotion. I actually think that women need a deeper sense of discipline, because it is not just this like regurgitated thing every day. So we actually need more self-commitment, more self-discipline. It's like more energy it almost takes, because it looks a little bit different every day. And so therefore you're not just like kind of doing it with your mind switched off. You're like, what do I feel like doing today? And what do I feel like doing today? And what workout would feel good for my body? And how do I want to eat today? Whereas men can do like the fucking chicken and broccoli every day. They don't care about, does this bring me pleasure the way that I'm eating? If we ate the same meal every day, we would not feel satiated. We would not feel satisfied, because we're not just eating for the sake of like nutrients, calories, boom, like protein. We're also eating for pleasure and joy. So we actually need, in a sense, a deeper level of self-commitment to stay self-disciplined and devoted to the version of us that we want to be, because our days look different every day. Even just as a mother, like, wow, the depths of embodiment that I have now gone to of self-discipline, because like, as an example, last night, usually Trip is down by 8:00. That works for us. And he was down at 8:20 last night or something, 8:25, because he had the longest feed of his life, right? So that kind of like threw my plans for the evening. That's okay. I literally caught myself saying something like, I'm going to bed now, and like, or I'm packing. I like wasn't going to do something that I wanted to do because I am devoted to my higher self, and I went to bed early. And that actually takes more discipline, because every day my day looks different, because I am not really in control. I'm not in control of my schedule, especially as a mother. But even if you're not a mother, you're to an extent not in control of you. I mean, none of us are in control, but like, you're not in control because your hormones could look different that day. You could feel really different in your luteal phase. And so therefore, how that self-discipline is going to show up, how your self-commitment, your routine, all of that, it's going to be different from what it was a week ago, right? That difference, the fact that things ebb and flow and change, that is what can make women really struggle to have that self-discipline and devotion, because it isn't the same every day. And when you do the same thing every day because you've read a book written by a man, it stops working. And why does it stop working? Because of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so following through on what you said that you were going to do for yourself, or what you want to do, AKA, I want to go for a walk this afternoon, and then you actually doing it, create the self-trust, boom, 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 everything I've said. What has been a big cock block for a lot of people with having that, like with having that self-integrity, which then boosts their confidence, is this culture of these easy dopamine hits. We have so much instant gratification. I want a steak, boom, it's at the front door. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to cook it. You don't have to go to the grocery store, buy the steak, come home, do all the prep, blah, blah, blah. Your relationship is hard, right? Flick the relationship, go on an app, swipe left or right, I forget, swipe one of the ways, and then boom, there's somebody that you can go on a date with. It's a problem. It's a problem because we have lost like work ethic, for want of a better frame. We have lost we no longer have normalized for ourselves, for our nervous systems around us. You have to put in the effort to get the reward. This isn't about you have to kill yourself to get a reward and like work your absolute ass off necessarily, but to an extent, you got to put the effort in. You got to put the work in. People are so addicted to the reward that they forget the process. And this completely erodes your self-confidence, because part of what you need to do to get the reward, in my mind, to then have that self-confidence, to actually feel proud of yourself, right, is you have to have put in the work into the process. Nowadays, you don't have to do fucking anything and shit just gets handed to you. And that is a problem because it is eroding people's self-confidence because they are not showing themselves, oh, I can get that for myself. I am proud of myself. They don't get to see their potential because they just want to go for the quick hit. They want the easy dopamine. And so as soon as something becomes too hard, quote unquote, too hard, what do? They give up because their brain has now become so their brain has adapted to want that easy dopamine hit that as soon as they're not easily getting that dopamine, that's why they give up. It's too hard. It's too this. They're not getting those hits. So if you know this is you, you need to remove some of those dopamine hits in your life and actually start doing hard things and then getting the reward. Like, it's also hard for your ego. Like, for example, as an adult, go do a hobby, go learn to ride a horse, go learn to ski, go do anything that you're like, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to fail at that. Go and do that because that is going to help you to actually be proud of yourself. It's going to show yourself, wow, if I set my mind to something, if I actually apply myself, if I work through those ego thoughts that come up, look at what happens. And you will be able to translate that into every area of your life. So if you have been trying to become more disciplined, to have more self-respect, to show up for yourself, to rebuild that self-trust, stop trying to do it like a man. Stop doing this masculine discipline. And instead, I want you to try embodying discipline through this feminine lens, right? Because when we increase our self-discipline, we increase our self-trust, and then we actually are able to soften into our feminine. So think of self-discipline more as devotion. I want you to go back and I want you to re-listen to this whole episode, and I want you to write down the ding, ding, ding points, okay? And then next to what you've written down of like, that was a truth bomb that she just said, like that hit home. How can you actually implement this? Don't just take this episode and be like, oh yeah, that was a good point. Like, oh yeah, see that. I want you to actually implement it into your life literally today. And feel free to send a DM, tell me what happens, share what was a ding, ding, ding about this episode. And don't forget to join her year. This is the way that you will ensure 2026 is better than you could possibly imagine. Seriously, the amount of testimonials that we have from the last cohort blows my mind, but also not, because we get so many testimonials that we've had to literally redo our website because it breaks the website all the time. And Hal is always like, can we remove these? And I'm like, no. So if you haven't read through them, that is going to be the best way for you to get a taste of the transformation in this program. It is not a fluffy program. It is actionable. It is human. You are not going to become some self-important bitch thinking that you're better than everybody else because you've quote unquote done the work. No, you are actually going to be fully embodied in what it means to be an empowered feminine woman that is regulated, that has masculine structure, and that is the woman that you want to be for yourself.